came to Flotsam looking for you.
So Sheila was looking for you when she came to Flotsam.
Mm-hmm. She thought she was still in control and wanted to get rid of me.
That hair texture.
I'd bet my eyes that she thought I'd lost my mind, or that Yorveth was manipulating me.
And the North descended deeper into chaos.
Exactly. There was just one problem. You.
Oh.
I could have killed you in the Elven ruins. Thing is, you weren't really my enemy.
Am I your enemy now, though? You failed to slay Henselt.
You screwed up with Henselt.
Sabrina's curse tore that down. First off, we got holed up in that hideout in the ravines. Then Sheila showed up and started watching Henselt like he was her own ass. By that time, his death was no longer necessary. Fate had smiled upon us again. I learned of the summit and the efforts to reconstitute the council and conclave. The ideal setting for the mission's grand finale.
Okay, Yennefer and the Wild Hunt. Okay, so after that, let's finish this.
I'm done talking. Let's finish this.
Wanna fight?
Fucking fight him? Not really.
Any vodka left in that bottle?
A swig apiece. Here.
Mad. That's not really a swig, Geralt. Still a bit in there. Bit of drops.
The Imperial army is probably crossing the Yaruga as we speak. Pure pandemonium will ensue. The North's finished.
Yep.
Time to go south, where the good life awaits.
You're a fool, Letho. Both you and your Emperor are forgetting one thing. Misfortune brings people together. Very shortly, the North could be united like never before, thanks to you. But that's just not my concern anymore.
I'm not your foe. I never was. Let me walk away and I will. You'll never see me again. Force me to fight, and this time I'll kill you.
Give it your best shot. Go somewhere far away.
I've learned all I
really
wanted to know. I can feel the memories coming back. Your death won't change a thing. Go where you will.
Just like that. No threats.
Nah.
No words of wisdom.
You going or not?
Grow some hair, mate.
Farewell, Geralt.
See ya, Letho. Big fucking bloke. Dem textures, though. Wonderful. Use your force push, mate. Ooh, ladybird. Ladybug. Ladybird, ladybug, whatever. Same thing, I think. Shh, don't judge me. Beautiful, Geralt. Continue then, mate. There we go. Subtris. We still gotta find Yennefer. After this entire game, we still have not found Yennefer.
The Witcher had traveled far and wide in search of the Kingslayers. Along the way, he had met both the righteous and scoundrels, Bernard Laredo amongst the latter. Laredo sold Flotsam to Kedwin and scattered the local non-humans to the four winds.
They're recapping on the story. Cool.
Flotsam became a military base. Its civilian population was resettled. In Aedirn, the Witcher witnessed Saskia the Dragon Slayer achieve a great victory.
Yep.
The Pontar Valley, previously Upper Edirne, became a promised land for outcasts who dared dream of freedom. Even sly old Zoltan Chive came to believe in this land of bliss. Yet dark times approached for the architects of the New Order. Dark clouds had been gathering over Temeria since Foltest's death. Stripped of its king, the land was like a rich cloth which nobles began to shred. These minor scavengers, however, scurried off in fear when true predators reached out for their prize. The summit at Loch Muine sealed the fate of Foltest's realm, when Radovid of Redania and Henselt of Kedwin divided it between them.
When did that happen?
A tempest descended on the north, at least partly the work of manipulative mages. It seemed the turmoil in Temeria, Edirne, and Kedwin would benefit them most. Common folk turned against sorceresses and all magic freaks, witchers included.
What?
Castles that had hitherto welcomed mavens of the magic arts now shut their gates to any who sought shelter there. A witch hunt ensued.
Who's that? All the
It was a time of great uncertainty, of rape accomplished by royal
It's hard
decree.
to determine which one's which.
Yet as troubled as the days seemed, we, who had in
For me,
some
anyway.
way shaped the world's fate, finally received some respite. Zoltan resumed the quest for his beloved's hand, and I laid my head in the laps of the muses. Who could have known this tempest which had
Mad.
ravaged the north was but a harbinger of darker days, and the preamble to an entirely new tale of Geralt of Rivia.
Choo. View the credits to see the game ending. Okay. The Witcher 2 game is based on the prose of that bloke. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out my playthrough for The Witcher 2 Assassination of Kings. I think that's what it's called. It's been a while since I've actually seen the name of it. But, anyway, just before I sort of kick off the rest of the credits here, I just want to talk about the game itself and sort of give my thoughts on it. Now, I didn't mind this game. It wasn't too bad. Like, the combat was okay in certain places, but there was little areas or sort of enemies that kind of really pissed me off. And that was the I don't know what they were called. I'll have it on the screen. I forgot which enemy they are, but it's the ones where they're in the sewers or the caves and stuff and they blow up. Those guys, right? They can somehow, when they jump, if you dodge out the way, they can automatically turn to your direction and still hit you, which is a little bit annoying and it just doesn't make much sense. So that gameplay mechanic in itself is just pure bullshit, to be honest. That, as well as having so many characters that I can't actually keep up with who I'm talking to, who are they talking about, and that sort of thing. Like, there was over 20 main characters in this game, like, legit. Dude, I can't even remember over 6 characters in this game, let alone over 20. So, like, I get it, they want to sort of make a diverse world and make us sort of have a better understanding of the world itself, but it doesn't really happen that way for me, and, you know, it just, I felt like there was too many people for me to actually remember or sort of feel for. Like, I didn't care about half of these people, but they were somehow important to the overall narrative. Now, with that being said, if you're going to have so many characters being mentioned or even talked about in some cases, then, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit redundant if you're going to have these people we'd never even spoken to, or people that were at the start of the game or in the previous game, you know, being talked about, but you don't really reflect on what happened previously. Only on certain missions they actually go through and do like a sort of flashback thing in a comic book style sort of cutscene, which is it's cool, don't get me wrong, but when it doesn't happen all the time, I don't know, it's a bit strange. But that as well. What else? Ooh, the dialogue in the game doesn't really, like, I want to know who these characters are, right? Like, their personality and stuff like that. But I can't really do that if every single character within the game has a bland dialogue, you know? I'm not saying that the actual sentences are bland. I'm saying that the actual voiceovers are extremely bland, and I can't really get into it as much as, you know, other games that actually have better voice acting. Now, I'm not saying that the voice acting is bad by any means. I'm just saying that it just doesn't have enough tone for me to feel for the characters. Like, I still don't know much about Geralt or Zoltan, Dandelion, Triss Marigold. None of those people. Based on the way that they speak, you know, it's hard to understand how they feel and whether they may be lying or not, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't really know how to explain that myself, but hopefully you guys get a bit of an idea of what I mean there. But, yeah, the game was fine. The ending was kind of a bit weird. But, yeah, I don't really know why we went through the entire game, this game and the first game, and we still haven't even found Yennefer yet. So, I'm assuming that we find Yennefer in the third game, because I think The Witcher 3 is the final game for the Witcher series, so that would be interesting. Now, what I would like to see is them actually fix the game, but they're probably not going to fix this game. Like, there's so many bugs, as you could probably have mentioned. I don't seen in the playthrough here, but I don't know if that's got anything to do with the mod that I had, the better texturing mod, or the flora mod, or the infinite grass distance mod. I don't know if it's got anything to do with that stuff, but I disabled the better texture mod and the infinite grass mod, and I kept the flora mod. But on top of that, the actual config, or I think it's the configurator or the launcher, whatever you want to call it, is extremely buggy. Like, there's so many settings, or not really so many, but there's a few settings that aren't actually in that launcher that are actually in the config file, and when you alter those, it sort of screws up the config in the launcher. And, you know, this game has been out for, what, nearly 4 years now, and it's still not fixed. Like, come on, bro. Like, it is really terrible to... I've never liked games that only allow you to change your settings outside of the game itself. Now, if they added some kind of mod, or somebody added a mod that it could allow me to change the settings, like the graphical settings and all that sort of stuff on the fly, even change my key bindings without having to close the game and reopen it, it's just a real pain in the ass, right? And not only that, you know, the texture resolution for most of it is terrible, and it is... There was a few sections in the game where it was completely unoptimized, right? Like, if I disabled VSync, it would be anywhere from 120 to 140 frames per second. Then, all of a sudden, if I turn around, it'd be a drop down to either 40 frames per second to 20 frames per second within that margin, you know? So, like, I always ask this when I find issues with a game, and who do you get to test your game? Seriously, at the end of the day, who? Because you have to be bullshitting yourself if you could not see that kind of performance while benchmarking or even testing the game. You know, granted, they probably only had that section, I think it was the mountainous section, I don't know what it was called, but that section of the game, like a few times, might have been tested a few times, right? So it may have been overlooked. But people praise CD Projekt RED like they are one of the best developers out there. For me, not really, because there was a lot of bugs in The Witcher 2 that were never fixed, you know? There was way more in The Witcher 1 that were never fixed. I don't like The Witcher 1 at all. I thought it was a just massive waste of time. For me, anyway. You know, I spent over 60 hours in that game, just didn't care for any of the characters apart from Geralt and Triss Marigold and Zoltan and Dandelion, right? The rest of the characters didn't give a fuck about. So in this game, when you ramp up the amount of characters in it, I don't care for a vast amount of them, you know? But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on The Witcher 2 and whether you liked it or you disliked it. You know, I'm open for your opinions as well, and I'll be happy to sort of have a discussion in the description, in the comment section below. But as always, my name is Rampage. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys, pardon me, and I'll see you guys in The Witcher 3.